So going forward, basically this channel is just gonna be about my experiences and being a drummer for a conjunto norteño, and my experiences in working in the world of logistics and in warehousing. They're both two things that are very important in my life, if I can be honest, and just two opportunities that I'm very grateful for. I really enjoyed the time that I was doing music. I'm currently not doing that anymore. I'm doing that privately on my own. I'll probably post some videos of me messing around, fucking around on the guitar. But other than that, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm actually out in right now I'm working out in Portland, Oregon. I'm working at a warehouse unloading containers, and I don't want to give out too much information right now at the moment, but you know, as I feel more comfortable, maybe I can express a little bit more. But basically, I'm in a hotel room right now. They fly me out to a warehouse and to a destination, and they deploy me out. And here I'm able to get a rental vehicle. Right now I'm currently in a Jeep Compass, and I'm staying out of a hotel room. And right now at the place that I'm at, I'm working Monday through Friday, pretty smooth schedule. But you know, I've been to other places that you're working 7 days, 6 days, with, I don't know, like Tuesdays off or Wednesday off or something. Which there's nothing wrong with those days off too. But I've been very grateful to get opportunities like this to go out and travel the United States and just really get as much experience as I can when it comes to warehousing. I've been to a lot of different states. Right off the top of my head: Illinois, Ohio, New York, Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi, Oregon, California, where I'm from, Los Angeles, California, Northeast 90065, stand up. I'm sure I've been to a couple more, but right now off the top of my head, that's the only thing I can remember. I've been to a lot of different warehouses. I've been to Kentucky as well. And I'm sure I'm gonna remember more, but this is me just really talking off the top of my head. And I'm just trying to make this as real and authentic as possible. So I've worked at many other different, Indiana. I've also been to Indiana. There's uh there's a lot of different warehouses that I've actually also worked at. I don't want to get too in specific into the name, but I've worked at dry, meaning that they're carrying any general, general items, um, such as dog food, flour, sugar, water, snacks, coffee, diapers, candy, pasta sauce, olives, just any general things. Then we move on to perishable items like fruits and vegetables, bananas. Um, there's also some occasions when they have flowers in those perishable warehouses and areas. But anything along that line, potatoes, cabbage, strawberries, blueberries, um, just anything that needs to be refrigerated. And then you have the freezer, anything around with ice cream, anything around with, that just needs to be frozen pizza, ice cream, little pints of ice cream, stuff that's in a bakery, the bakery stuff, and you're basically shipping it out to grocery stores. I've also been to warehouses that just unload car parts. Been to warehouses that just do stuff for pets, you know, and they all have different type of safety regulations. But for the most part, when it comes to food, handling hazardous materials is what I'm trying to say, and just a lot of other different things like that. I'm sorry if you hear the noise in the background, but I'm basically next to a freeway, talking into my phone, out of a hotel room. I'm in a nice hotel room, I will tell you that. I can't complain. And this is just the little parts I want to show about how grateful I am for this lifestyle. I feel very much appreciated to be able to fly out to different states and learn and get all the experience I can. And that's something I want to talk about as well. I want to talk about all the steps it takes to. Now, I'm not a master, I haven't mastered this, but everything that I have in my mind and the experiences I've gone through on running a warehouse, everything starts with security. And, I think that's something very important. That way you know who's coming in and out the warehouse. And, I've been to warehouses that, or I've heard, and I've been at as well, where they're trying to steal trailers. Some people are trying to go in and just basically steal some trailers. A driver pulls in with his truck and he tries to, act like he's part of this whole warehouse scene, and like no one's paying attention. He hooks up his trailer to a container that he sees on the yard and tries to get out, but the security's doing their job. There shouldn't be an issue. Because you need to go out and check out the traders and check who, which ones are going out of your security and everything like that. Then it goes to the yard goat, somebody who's outside and basically taking care of the yard and putting containers where they're supposed to be at, moving containers around the yard, and, being very organized with the yard. That's his job throughout the whole day, just to very much take care of the yard and move trailers where they need to be, trailers from door to door, from dock door to dock door, on the shipping or receiving side. Once they're loaded up, go ahead and park them on the yard. That way, and also to help out with things like if drivers come in and this is their first time and they don't know where to go. I've seen very good yard goats that go ahead and approach them and make them feel comfortable and show them around and make it easier for them. That way, they're not just driving around and looking dumb. Then we'll go ahead and get into the unloading process and just talk about properly how my experience on unloading containers like I'm doing right now, and the different types of ways they are unloaded. If they're a floor load, if they already come organized on pallets, if maybe the load is messed up and there's pallets that are tilting over, I can go ahead and give my experiences and talk about all these things. Receiving, when it comes to really receiving all this merchandise, counting it up, the best way to do all that, the paperwork, making sure you check the load, you check the expiration dates. These are all things that, I wanna just talk about in future videos, you know what I mean? Not right now, this is just a basic introduction of all the things that I'm experienced with when it comes to the world of warehousing and logistics. Then hauling out the merchandise, freight hauling, taking it from the dock over to the aisle and staging it there. And then reach trucks for put away and replenishment. This is a big part of warehousing as well. And then when it comes to order selecting, being able to go out and pick the merchandise on a Vocana headset or just whatever system that they're using around the warehouse and things like that. We'll get into all of that when it comes to that topic. Staging the pallets, depending on where it's sending, to go ahead and put it, meaning on a dock door, or if it has a certain staging area because of auditing or something. Loading, meaning that you're gonna load all the pallets that are on the dock into a trailer, and I can go ahead and give my experiences on the different ways different companies have done it. Shipping, basically like a shipping clear, getting all the paperwork together and just getting it out, making sure it's going out on time and it's loaded the correct way. I have some stories with driver's assistants. Some people that I know helped the drivers go ahead and take the load from the warehouse, and they drove it over to the grocery store, and they just help them out by unloading it once they're there. Different situations like that. Like I said, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to close this window because it's cold. But And we can talk about inventory and auditing. You know, I'm not too familiar with like cycle counts, but I know about auditing. And maybe in another video I can learn a little bit more when it comes to inventory, or I can hear on some comments and just get to learn a little bit more about inventory. And there's just so many other topics like management, supervising, leadership, maintenance, housekeeping, janitors, safety team meetings, training teams, traveling teams, repacking areas, um, clean out, backhaul, salvage clean out, machinery, warehouse system, mods, mech carousels, cameras, loss prevention, human resources, IT departments, recruiting, recruiters, job fairs, things like twilight zones in the warehouse. Just really sit down and give my experiences when it comes to what I have lived in the world of warehousing. And I know I was getting a little bit more detailed into some of the other departments that I was talking about, but my head right now is getting pretty excited about just being able to and talking about all these experiences that I have gone through, and now that I'm gonna share upon with you. And to be honest, I want to be comfortable with telling these stories, and that's why I'm gonna choose to, for you to believe me, and for me, for my job to try to give much detail as possible. That way, because I don't want to be showing anything. This is basically, you know, for me in my head, this is meant for you to just put on while you're at work, unloading a container, or moving a car from one side to the other side because you're at a car factory, or putting it on because you're at a heavy machinery, moving dozers and moving wheel loaders and excavators and stuff like that. And just listening to me talk with my experiences and what I've gone through. And that's really, this is all it's supposed to be. I just really, really, really am grateful for everything I've learned, because not only have I learned all of that, but I've also learned to talk to people. I've also learned how to, deal with management, stand up for people, stand up for myself, and just be somebody and be part of a team. I think that's very important when it comes to going out on the road and living life out on the road with people that you don't know. Now that's not to say judgment, because, in warehouses, a lot of people are always going to be pretty much common, you know, and I mean that in a sense, a lot of people that I've met on the road are just the same way, or act the same way, or have the same personalities, just as somebody that's on the road and they're at home, you. They have the same. It's just all around. I'm grateful enough that I've never really had too many problems or encounters, with people. But at the same time, you know, I just I just try to sit back and do my part, you know. There's been times when I try to be the hero and do a little too much, and that doesn't always work out. You put yourself in a situation like, damn, now I'm stuck doing all this shit. And there's been times when you can sit back and just, I'm just gonna let somebody else do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, it's just the way that you choose to be at that time, I would say. Because there's been times when I've been at a great site, at a great place, and I want to exceed in everything, and I want to do as much as I can because it's going on base performance pay, and you don't want to leave any money on the table. You're working 6 days, 7 days, making $30 an hour, and I'll be honest with you, I never made that much, but I know a lot of guys who have, and that just blows my mind. Making $30 an hour at 70-hour weeks, and look, I'll be honest with you. For me, I mean, that's a lot of money. I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's a reason, I'm doing a YouTube video right now. It's with the hopes of, in the future, making some money out of this and being able to talk to people. I'm not gonna sit back and say that it's just like whatever. Of course, I love to talk, and if I be honest with you, I've practiced all my life just talking and things like this. But I mean, I would say that growing up, that's part of it, right? Like, and I do want to talk because it is just something that I want to talk to people about and experience my experiences. But I mean, right now, long story short, it is about the money as well. But I hope that with time, it just continues from my soul and just being able to express and being able to just tell stories and ideas and make the world of Norteño and logistics and warehousing just more cool, and just put it in uprise to it, you know. Right now my mind's just going all over the place because I feel like I've talked about the world of logistics, now also getting into the world of Norteño. Um, just being able to talk about my experiences in drumming and playing live music in a conjunto norteño, being able to just learn from my teachers and learn from the people around me, and just remember what the songs that I learned when it comes to, like, Los Caretes de Linares, moving up to Los Invasores, Carlos y Jose, Ramon Ayala, and just keep moving up and up and then you start getting into, Los Tucanes and Los Tigres del Norte, and eventually you start seeing new things like Gerardo Ortiz, Rego Lucaro, and if I'm being honest, you know, at the times like Larry Hernandez, Commander, Calibre 50, Espinosa Paz. I know they're still doing music, but that's kind of around the time that I pretty much stopped. Like, I remember Comando Negro hitting, Táctica Norteña, Los Reyes de Arranque, um, Voces del Rancho. If I'm being honest, like, when it comes to Musica Norteña, I, uh, I stopped at one point. I don't want to say stop listening to it because I always listen to it in the sense that, it's always on my playlist for sure. But I would say the new style. Like, I remember, like, Ariel Camacho, R.I.P. Ariel Camacho. Like, he's some of the last artists I remember. Maybe I'm tripping. Like, Grupo Codiciado was coming out. Los del Arroyo, Ariel, what was that full name? I forgot. Ariel Favela. And things like that. But when it comes to like learning and music, when it comes to Norteño right now, like, I'm not really keeping up with the movement that it's doing, if I'm being honest, in maybe like the last, I would say, 5 to 10 years. Like, I can try to play you anything from Los Alegres del Barranco to Crecer Hernán, Daniel Camacho, Rego Caro, Los Invasores, Ramón Ayala, Carlos y José, Los Tucanes, Los Tigres del Norte. But when it comes to the new stuff, like, I really don't, I don't know any other music because it goes into a lot of different tones, and I haven't practiced it, to be honest. But it's something that I would love to learn because I also want to write my own music, and I also want to experiment with writing my own tones, like, as far as composing my own tones. I'm sorry, not writing my own tones, but composing my own music with different minor tones and things like that. Now, if I can be honest, Grupo Cartel is always going to be my favorite group of all time. Chanino Sanchez as well. Los Tocanes, Al Palomo y el Gorrión, Los Tremendos Gavilanes. I'm very fascinated with Musica Norteña, and I feel this is the perfect place to come in and talk about the things that I love when it comes to Musica Norteña and the world of logistics and warehousing. I'm in love with both of them, and I'm fascinated by both worlds, and I want to talk about just going through life on both of them. When it comes to Musica Norteña, and just what fascinates me about it. What inspires me to keep singing and keep just keep learning about it. There's always new things to learn when it comes to Musica Nortena. It's just always, you never stop learning. That's just something that I love about it, you know. And especially like when you hear like old songs that you haven't heard in a while, like I think that's just the best. Like when it comes to one of those like that type of situation, I remember it had been a while since I heard the song Obsession from Grupo Cartel. It had been a while. But damn, when I heard that song over again, that shit was crazy. And that's something that I love about music, that once you hear a song over again that, you used to love and you keep so much in your soul. And then you hear it after for so long because you lost a playlist, or for my example, I lost a lot of iPods that had that type of music that I would download from YouTube back in the days, and then it went on to Spotify and whatnot. But you know, that's what I love about music, and just talk about how I got into drumming. Talk about when I started picking up a guitar and learning the guitar, and my experiences going to and learning with different people, different teachers when it came to drumming and for the guitar, and just overall talk about my whole experience. You know, I'm just gonna really try to post up as much as possible. I got a lot of time, and I'll just be honest with you. Like, I'm just gonna post up about these different functions when it comes to a warehouse, and different seasonal things, because it all kind of revolves around the same with that too, like seasonal times and music. You know, when it comes to music and with logistics, Christmas time, Thanksgiving time, Valentine's, all that type of stuff. We go out and do serenatas on Valentine's. We're going out and playing on Thanksgiving. 3, 4 in the morning. Sometimes you should be at home, but I'm doing the same thing. Sometimes you gotta work on Christmas in the warehouse. And I just want to talk about all those things and what I've been through in life. I'm not a perfect person either. I want to talk about, just some of the situations that I've been in that maybe you can learn from, and everybody can learn from. I don't really want to say too much or get into myself right now, but I feel like with a little bit of time, I can open up and you guys can see. But I do just appreciate you taking the time and listening, and know that I'm gonna try to go out and push out as much content on these subjects and about myself, and just open up. I'm very grateful to talk about these experiences and talk about everything that I lived in, and just share about these two worlds that I love and care for very much. It's gonna be a lot. I promise that. You know. And I thank God for everything because He's helped me out, and if I'm being honest, you know, I have nothing to complain about in this world. I'm the last person that should be thinking anything bad about anybody or should be judging anybody. And I'm grateful that I don't, you know. But sometimes I just gotta sit back and know that, I should be grateful for a lot of things. And God has helped me get out of a lot of bullshit. And I'm here to talk about all that stuff. If I'm being honest. I want to talk about everything that I've gone through. I want to talk about the dumb shit that I've done. I want to talk about just a place to be open, a black screen that you can talk to and hear my voice and just know that I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, where none of us are perfect. And that's cool, because I want to be able to talk about, bad situations that I've been in. And I was really, I was just going down a bad path that I knew I shouldn't have been going down. But at the same time, I feel like we all get off a little track sometimes, And I feel like this is a place we can all come and talk about that and experience from that. I was doing a lot of dumb shit too. If you could put one and one together, shit. Music, warehouses, come on, drinking, drugs, alcohol, all that, partying. Like, it just goes one and one together, I also went out and gambled for a long time. I lived my dream on trying to be a serious gambler and things like that. So I got vicios as well. And those are some of the things that I want to talk about going forward as well. And I know it sounds like I'd be slurring my words a lot, and maybe with time I'll let you know why that is, but right now, I'm just straight tripping, And I want to talk about that with you guys. And I just want this to be, once again, a place where we can come, just put your fucking headphones on, and just hear me talk about different situations that I've been in. And, that's it. Sit back while you're unloading a container, while you're on the way, to a gig, while you're on the way to a casino, while you're just chilling, you're about to start putting some pallets away, if you're at work, whatever. Just put it on, let me start talking, and that's it. That's all you gotta do. I appreciate anybody that, takes the time to hear, what I gotta say, and clicks on the video and just takes the time out of their day to listen. Because, I also take a look at those things, and that's something we can also talk about. One day I do want to start up a company and that goes around and is a traveling third-party logistics company that go around the United States helping warehouses with whatever they need. I'm going to get a little bit more into the thesis in another video. But I do have goals as well. And, I do have experience on how to make all that go. We're going to talk about building relationships with hotels, building relationships with partners in different companies and things like that. You know, I've gone through all that experience, and I'm just very grateful for the things that I've learned. Very happy for the things that I've learned, and once again, I thank God for all of that. You know, and I'm gonna keep learning, and I know I'm gonna learn with the comments that I read down below, and that's what I want to do, because that's what sometimes life should be about. Just keep learning, you know. But once again, there's just a little introduction of what this channel is gonna be about, and I hope you come back and listen to what I gotta say, and I'm just gonna try to be as much detailed as possible with the things that we get into, as far as when it comes to, the situations that I've gone through in gigging, the situations that I've gone through in warehousing, and just about all the different departments and about all the different steps we got to take for each one. And, we're also going to talk about the company that I want to start up that goes around and takes people, to different states, and just helps, because I'm a very big person I'm a person that is very big on third-party logistics companies, because I feel like, sometimes having local people around is cool. Obviously, you're helping the community and things like that, but sometimes people that have come out of town and come from a different state, that's all they gotta do. And depending on the area and the situation that you're at and the weather and everything, all of that comes into play, and we're gonna talk about all that. That's why my words are a little slurred right now, because there's just so much to talk about, and I'm so amped up about being able to talk about all these situations. And like I said, I'm going to try to get as much detail as possible when it comes to all of these situations. I'm very excited, once again, to talk about the world of norteño music, and just to talk about the world of logistics and warehousing. So please be aware that there is more videos coming out, and we're going to talk about all the good times and all the bad times that I had at these places, and it's just gonna get good. I'm gonna be posting up videos of me singing. I'm gonna be posting up videos of just things that I'm into. So just please stick around. You know, we should have a good time, everybody. Y'all be safe.